Okay, we're rolling.
All right, sweet.
Rachel, thanks for doing this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So you own and run Little Bear Counseling.
That's correct.
What
Yeah.
can you tell me about it?
Little Bear Counseling has been around for, 12 years. First started out with just me, and over the years I've grown, and I've expanded to really include Little Bear to not just be a counseling center, but also a place where counselors can kind of blossom and grow. I have a real passion for counselor development, probably because I didn't have a whole lot of that when I was becoming a counselor, and I had to pay a lot of money to get that. So,
Yeah, I bet. And have you been doing this right out of college?
So I took a break
Okay.
from my bachelor's for a few years, and I went back for my master's, and then after my master's, again took a few months off of private practice. Private practice wasn't really encouraged right out of grad school, so I worked for a nonprofit as a lifeline counselor. So that's a suicide
Okay.
support line, and a sexual assault advocate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys what's the scope? I know you said you help kind of mentor and train other counselors, but as
Yeah.
far as patients, is there a particular scope or specialty, or is it pretty broad?
We're getting broader, but I would say our foundational piece is that we really focus on relationships.
Okay.
And that doesn't just mean romantic relationships. That is kind of where it started. But really it's familial relationships, obviously with your romantic partner, but also your relationship with yourself. We practice a pretty specific type of therapy called EFT, or emotionally focused therapy.
Okay.
And that type of therapy really focuses on developing healthy attachment relationships, because we believe that if you can develop healthy attachment relationships, a lot of symptomology kind of self-clears.
So this is kind of rooted in attachment theory.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have a very I've listened to a handful of Andrew Huberman podcasts about this.
Oh,
So I have
nice.
a vague understanding, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
I think I generally understand it, but not in
Awesome.
depth. Well, I mean, what can you say about that, or what, if you had to give anyone off the cuff information that helps?
Oh gosh. Okay. I'm going to try not to nerd
Okay.
out on you.
Sure.
But essentially we are large mammals, and large mammals are wired for attachment. Attachment is our best shot of survival. And so, we have this saying in EFT, from the cradle to the grave, we're wired for attachment. And if that attachment gets disrupted early on in life, that can have lifelong effects. And essentially what we see in a lot of some of the most common diagnoses, like anxiety, depression, is we see people who have poor attachments or unstable attachments. And a lot of the symptomology then of anxiety and depression comes after there's been an attachment disruption. So,
And is it a long road if they want to repair that, or create a healthy attachment style, I guess, with themselves and with the world at large, their romantic partners? That's where it usually stems, right? Or where it
that's where it
shows
shows
up.
up. Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily. I mean, I think degree of trauma has a lot to do with it. But the really cool thing about attachment is that we see that when people partner with or are surrounded by people with secure enough attachments, people tend to trend towards growth. So they trend towards the more secure attachment style, which is really cool. It just kind of shows that we are wired to grow as human beings.
Yeah, I think at least I've learned in my life that people you spend time around with really have a huge impact on you.
Absolutely.
So I'm assuming what you're saying is if people have healthier attachment styles and you spend time with them,
Yeah,
that can rub off on you.
exactly.
This could be a deep question or a long answer, but how did you get into this in the first place?
Into counseling or
Yeah.
this type of counseling?
Yeah, both or either.
Okay, counseling in general, I'll go with that one. In my early 20s, I was feeling very lost, very depressed. Interestingly enough, in between friendship groups, and so very lonely. And I thought, well, gosh, I think this is why people go to therapy, so maybe I'll go. And I went to a therapist at MSU, and I'm so glad I got her. She was someone who had a lot of life experience, even though she was a student. And it was an incredibly positive experience, and something she said really stuck with me, which is like, she said, Rachel, I feel like you're afraid of your feelings, and you don't really see them as though they're really just sort of like ocean waves. They come in, they go out, they come in, they go out. And that was transformative for me. So that inspired me. I think that started to inspire me. And then my neighbor in my backyard was finishing his counseling program, and he got me to volunteer at the Help Center, which is our local suicide and crisis support center. And I did that, and really figured, becoming an official counselor is the next step. So,
were you studying that originally or no?
No, I got a major in English literature and a minor in history.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a cool transition.
Very much so. Yeah. But I think all along, I just been very interested in people's stories, and so that was. Was like going to therapy? Was there a stigma around that? Was that uncomfortable for you to do in the first place? That's a really good question. It was uncomfortable because I don't know how much stigma, but inevitably, I think if you tell people you're going to therapy, they wonder why and what's wrong, and I didn't really want to be that vulnerable. Yeah,
for sure. And I think I can only speak for men as a man, but I feel like it's probably 10x, not 10x, but it can be even more so as a man if you're trying to maintain your ego and
absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, either way, it's I think the stigma's been around at least since I've been a kid, or as long as I could remember.
Yeah, it's definitely there. It's real.
Do you have any advice on how people should approach it if they want to see a therapist for the first time, if they never have, if they have apprehension about it?
I think being really honest with the therapist. This is my first time. I'm apprehensive. I don't know what to expect. And I guess also just to remember that just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's bad.
Yeah.
Expect it to be uncomfortable and weird, because it is. It's a strange relationship.
Do you have any advice on how they get through the door to their first?
Through the door. Man. Well, I would say if they're even contemplating therapy, it's a good idea to shop around. Mm-hmm. The internet's great for that these days. That wasn't so much a thing when I was looking. But what I say is look for the therapist who doesn't just talk about themselves in their bio, but look for the therapist who's speaking to what you're going through. Yeah,
that's probably a great thing to look for.
Yeah.
Do you know the comedian Theo Von?
No.
He's pretty funny. And he runs a podcast, but he has a very fun. I saw a short of him, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you got to look at a therapist like a girlfriend. You don't just pick the first one and keep them forever." He's like, you got to date. You got to find out the fit for you. And I'm like, what a great perspective.
I think that's absolutely true, and I think people give up too soon.
Hi, folks. Quick note from me. If you don't already know, the goal of Mountain Mule Media is to build real connection between Montana's businesses and the people they serve. If this episode or any other has given you something worth thinking about, smiling at, or passing along, I've got a small ask. Share it with a friend, text it to someone, post it in your story. That one simple action helps these businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this show keep going. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. Now back to the show. Bear Counseling, where did that name come from?
That came from a really cool party that I went to at the Little Bear Cabin.
Okay. Where is that? That's out here somewhere?
Yeah. It's right before you get into the canyon going to Big Sky.
Okay.
Basically, one of my friends was he had a throwdown for his 40th, and he had the Kitchen Dwellers. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the band. So back before they were bigger than they are now, he had them come, and they were playing in the cabin. And weirdly, the acoustics were amazing in there. And there was probably 60, 70 of us, all just camping around there, hopefully no one from the Forest Service is listening to that
Yeah.
part, but
Too late now.
I'm too late. But I think I had been sort of wrestling with myself and my relationship and my life trajectory. I was feeling like a pretty crappy therapist at that time because I was crappy. That was an honest assessment. And I don't know, something just kind of broke loose up there. And it's kind of like the stars sort of aligned. And I felt like I had kind of like this cosmic spiritual experience where I'm like, no, this is the path I'm supposed to be on.
And that was the Little Bear cabin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I came from.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what, you said like the attachment style, that's like been your primary focus. How broad is it now? If anyone wanted to reach, so you have other counselors working under you, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So how broad is that range? Like depending on if people were looking for services, like what?
Yeah. So basically, at this point, we have therapists who work with every age range. I always encourage people to really choose a therapist that specializes with their demographic, though. Like I don't allow therapists at Little Bear to work with kids or adolescents if that isn't their passion.
Okay.
I'm a big believer in mastery and specialty, and I think that we do better when we're working with the people that we enjoy most.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And kids can be tricky too, because some people can't stand kids, and some people love kids, and like I think you probably really have to have a love and a certain amount of passion.
Absolutely.
Just that makes complete. I look as a business owner, I'm always looking for people that specialize in things because they're so dialed in on what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And you, if I remember correctly, Tennessee, is that where you're from?
Tennessee, yeah.
What part?
It's called Cleveland.
Okay.
It is southeast Tennessee, a little bit north of northeast of Chattanooga.
Okay. My mother lives in Knoxville.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Don't
Not
know
very far at all.
Oh, really?
70 miles from where I grew up.
Yeah, it's pretty. Like I'm from the East Coast, and
beautiful.
it's a pretty spot.
Yeah. We're on the East Coast.
Upstate New York.
Oh, which town? What area?
Like Hudson Valley, Dutchess County.
Oh,
You know it?
yeah.
Millbrook.
Don't know Millbrook.
Okay. Where do you like Poughkeepsie?
I do know Poughkeepsie, but my husband's from a little bit north of Albany.
Okay. Yeah, we're like an hour south of Albany.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Go
Great.
figure. Small world.
I know. It's super small.
I got this is probably a weird question or maybe not, but like any therapist in general, like how much importance do you put on like in the room that like therapy is in or the setting of the room? Because I know we were talking about earlier, like the setup in this room, and I think about this just for the podcast. My thought is, how do I make the guests feel comfortable?
Right.
Because if you're already putting headphones and a mic on and stuff's being recorded, so I want to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But I'm curious how much thought goes into that.
A bit. I guess I have like a couple preferences. I like to have a little bit of mixed seating, so a couch and also a chair for clients. I work with couples, and some couples cannot stand to be on the same couch. So
interesting.
I don't want to make them do that. I also prefer to sit in an office chair because I like to roll up onto people, which sounds terrible.
Rolling up.
Yeah, rolling up. But I like to roll up when they get dysregulated or when there's kind of an argument that I can't stop. There's something about someone approaching your space that gets your attention in either like oh crap, I need to stop doing what I'm doing, or in a deeply regulating way. And I guess the other thing is I don't believe, this kind of maybe sounds a little woo, but I don't believe in any tables between me and my clients. Yeah.
No, that makes sense
Yeah.
though. Like, 'cause if you're trying to keep an open space.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, like, what have you learned? What has this taught you about yourself and about people? Like the career you've had of doing this, anything big that sticks out?
Oh man, that's a huge question. I think what it's taught me about people is that we're all a lot more similar than we think. I think what it's also taught me is that when people are vulnerable, everybody's likable. I can genuinely say that in the hundreds of clients I've seen, there's really only been 2 people that I struggled to like. And with that being said, I'm fully aware that I might not like some of my clients in the outside world with how they show up.
Sure. That's, I mean, it's got to be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. And then about myself, I think that growth isn't some sort of milepost that you hit. A thing I love about my job is that it's constantly pushing me to lean into uncomfortable places and learn how to get more comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's never boring.
Yeah, I could relate to that. Like always growing is just, it's a cool feeling.
It
so
is.
That's cool when your occupation takes you that way.
Absolutely.
What would you say is your favorite thing about the job or what you love about it?
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, I really like roller coasters, and it's sort of like a roller coaster, and not in like the negative pathologizing way that a lot of people say, like, oh, I'm an emotional roller coaster. It's not like that. It's more like you never know what you're going to get, but also people endlessly surprise me with just their capacity for growth and change. And that's just really exciting.
On the opposite side of that, what's the hardest part? Like, how do you not carry around the weight of, all the trauma that everyone's been through on a daily, weekly basis?
Right. I think the way I don't carry it is I do let it impact me for sure. I mean, there are sessions where afterwards I cry, like depending on kind of how heavy the day has been or how heavy the story is. But I think I have a pretty good relationship with my feelings of like grief and compassion. And so when I can lean into that and I can say, hey, Rachel, this is actually something that's really special that you can still feel for people. And that's amazing. And how can I have compassion for that part of myself? It just sort of dissipates.
Do you have any like tactics or tricks you use to just like shake it if you're just trying to like change your state or like get out of it?
Yeah. So are you familiar with Kristen Neff?
No.
She's an academic and she researches self-compassion.
Okay.
And she has a meditation that I believe it's Buddhist, but it's a loving kindness meditation. And so I sort of adapt it to EFT. And so I identify the part of myself that is feeling sad or heavy or depressed. And I talk to that part of myself and I apply the loving kindness meditation to it. And it's amazing what that can do.
Is that something you do daily or as needed?
I used to do it daily.
Okay.
Now I would say it's more as needed. I think I have sort of a shorthand in my brain now that I kind of do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything you do that people don't know about or people like should think about you that they had no idea you do, or is it pretty straightforward?
I think there's like little niches that we do that are kind of cool. Like we do CBTI, which is, I think it's the only evidence-based therapy for insomnia.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it's a relatively short-term therapy. Like it can be done in 1 to 8 sessions. So that's very cool. I think often in the world of therapy and psychology, we underestimate the impact of kind of the building blocks of health, like sleep and nutrition and fresh air and exercise. And we just want to talk about trauma and emotions. Yeah. And the reality is if you're not sleeping good, you're going to feel like crap. And then if you come into my office, I might diagnose you with depression when actually that isn't the case. You just need to sleep.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things for me. I've noticed as I get a little bit more intelligent with my body, sleep is a game changer.
Absolutely.
What does that therapy look like? If like, what's a brief overview of what you...
A brief overview is it's fairly homework heavy because we're not going home with you to watch you sleep.
Yep.
Should be weird. But you are going to keep a journal for us. We're going to analyze it and we're going to make tweaks. I mean, some people really don't have an issue with insomnia. They have something that's more of a circadian rhythm disorder, which I hate to even call it a disorder. It's more like it just doesn't fit in our modern world.
Yeah.
So it's homework heavy. You keep a journal. We make tweaks, and sometimes that tweak can be made in just one session. Sometimes it does take up to the 8 sessions.
Yeah. Is that a lot of it like habits too, of like lights on or like
no,
not winding? So it's not like environmental.
No,
Oh,
no. I
interesting.
mean, unless we see something glaring.
Yeah.
But the reality is, a lot of a lot of people are into blue screens and how you should avoid blue screens and light and that sort of thing. But a lot of that research was actually done on teenage boys,
Oh, interesting.
and their brains are just different than
Yeah.
adults. So, and they didn't do teenage girls because teenage girls have periods and that can make them crazy.
Oh, interesting.
That's not my official verdict, but
No, I
yeah, they didn't want it to be tampered with hormones.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying it could be a lot, like you think it's more psychological, like within there.
It can be psychological, but there are real. I mean, to break it down, like there's two things that help you sleep. There's homeostatic pressure, and there's circadian rhythms. And so it could be an issue with you're having issues with a homeostatic pressure buildup. There isn't enough. Maybe you're napping. Maybe you're drinking coffee until 5 p.m., that sort of thing, which is going to mess with homeostatic pressure. Or it could be a circadian rhythm issue, whereas like your body circadian rhythm just does not kick in until 3 a.m., no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And that's not psychological. That's just how you're wired.
Yes, I know like some people have the tendency they're just night owls, and like I personally I like to be up early, but then I'll it'll bite me because I'll go to bed late and then still want to be up early,
Right.
and then
Right.
here we are with that problem.
Do you ever find that's like more men than women tend to be early risers?
Let me think. It's hard to say, 'cause, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Like no, I guess I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Okay.
I'm thinking of all the women I've dated and wondering. Like,
I'm thinking that
but
too.
then I'm like thinking of my buddies, and I'm like, I don't know their sleep schedules, but no, I think I don't know. Like I grew up on a farm. We were always up early, so it was a pattern.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I'll
yeah.
say like my little brother, and he knows this. Like we're the exact opposite, and he can sleep till like noon. But he's the one that always says he has insomnia and can't go to bed at night. So we're like wired the exact opposite.
Yeah, yeah.
But maybe you either like turn into what you were, or you become the exact opposite.
Maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything that I can do or anyone else can do to support what you do? Is there any outreach that you need help with or anything like that?
Oh,
or,
thank you. Really just spread the word. I think I'm very passionate about spreading the message of attachment, because I think in our culture, at least, we've gotten a lot of messages through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and unfortunately through, I think, psychologists, that we need to be independent, self-sufficient, that sort of thing. And the reality is, like, it's bad for your physical health, it's bad for your mental health. And so the more people that tune into the message that, hey, we're wired to connect and we're stronger together, I think that's a worthwhile cause.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Where do people find you and any of your therapists?
You can go to our website, littlebearcounseling.com. We have bios, we have the issues we address, and about half of our therapists have their schedules posted there too, so you can make an appointment.
Cool. So whether it's someone seeking therapy or a therapist that's looking for some guidance or counseling, coaching.
Yep,
Cool.
Absolutely. You can reach out.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Rachel.
much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, folks. You can find the full blog post for every episode along with key takeaways and links at mountain-mule.com. If you haven't yet, consider following the show. That one small action helps these Montana businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this podcast keep going too. If you know a business that would be a good fit for the show, we'd love to hear from you. Just reach out through the website or social. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. See you on the next show.